everyone! Strangers123 here, managed to slack a little bit away the past few days as well, but I blame exams. Back here with finally another replay cast. This is Ativas. Yeah. Playing again in Montana in, well, a pretty interesting matchmaking for this map, actually. One destroyer, no radar cruiser on our team. They get a Conquilol, but, you know, Yamato each side. We get Henri, which could be pretty useful if he gets on the flanks on this map, or if he's quickly able to reach the 1-2 line to lock that down. Enemy gets Henri as well, though, but they get a Des Moines, which is probably the more interesting thing. We get a Senjo, very useful ship, but on this map it's a little bit more awkward to use, in my opinion, even though I haven't really tried. Looks like chat's going a bit ham, like people are talking, let's see. Guessing some people are recognizing each other here. The enemy team's got double rain. They're probably on TS playing with each other. Paid a lose community. Intending to go made Hurricane, I think. So, yeah, it's actually going to be a pretty interesting matchup. Anyways, while I'm getting distracted by chat, our team's getting and actually securing Bravo first. For some reason, our Z2052 is going through mid. That's normally not recommendable. I don't really... It's normally not recommendable, just purely because of the fact that it's easy to get yourself killed doing it. But in this case, one radar and, well, low Senjo, so, you know, he's not really going to be crossing close, but there's a decent chance we can get something out of it. Anyways, Yamato spotted broadside at this kind of a range. It's not, even with another tier 10 battleship, it's not necessarily what you consider a likely Citadel shot. But then again, it's not likely for Yamato to Citadel us back either with our strong bomb deck and splinter deck armor on top of our very strong angled belt. So the follow shot is going to mean that, well, you're not really going to get much out of it. Anyways, both of us missed because both just turned in. This is pretty much exactly what you'd expect. Henri's gonna hit us in the deck and there's a little bit of damage, not a big deal. Maybe he'll have gotten another shot off, but it's time for us to start shooting the cruisers. And it looks like we might actually get an alpha cap. Our Henri has pretty much just sukabliated down their Yueyang, so he's actually not entering the cap. Although, I mean, the Yueyang... the Hindenburgs are going to probably bleed the Henri a bit, but I don't really think we have a good shot on the Yueyang, as much as I'm sure we're lining up to try to take a shot. Unfortunately, he's going to have to get to, like, around about here, over that little bit of low island there, then we could potentially get a shot on him. So we've kind of just launched a plane without really achieving much with it, but at least it seems that we have a scout plane upgrade. I think I didn't actually check the original timer on the thing. So maybe we did, maybe we didn't. I actually don't think we did, but plane's still around, so you know, it might have a little bit of use. It's not going to spot anything on the other side. But for the moment, we're actually in a pretty reasonable position. We have a Henri inside of A, but he got in there and he didn't bleed too much. I don't think he got battleship. That's probably the most important thing. However, he's in there. So, he's now kind of useless. That's the thing. If you get a cruiser in there, you need to find a way to get it out. Because a cruiser stuck inside there is generally a cruiser not doing anything. And that's kind of difficult to deal with if the enemy team is trying to do something about it. Because you could only really get into the game the moment, well, the enemy get into the game. So I think we're realizing that we actually need to start applying some pressure because the guys in A are unlikely to be able to last, even though the Des Moines up there. Get a shot, decent looking shot on Malibu, so we're going to send it. He could potentially react to it on time, and we're now radared, so we're kind of in this awkward position where we can easily get ourselves, shot back. But we get a 4.6k salvo, so that's like not even good, all in all considered. But, yep, the plane is being launched, but our recamo is going to actually hide us for a little bit until we get set on fire for a double, so hey. So it respots us again, but it's going to vanish, and I don't think that, well, When the plane circles itself around here again, we're going to get spotted, which is in a little bit, unless the Henri actually manage to kill it. I doubt that's going to happen, though, because, well, if he's not AA spec, it's not really that good, and he's currently being blown up by the Hindenburg group, probably being shot over, and that's the thing, you get stuck inside there, you're having a really, really bad time. Look, I guess we're trying to look for a shot over there. I mean, the Henri shooting AP actually knocks out one of our turrets. That's a bit of an interesting one. But either we're trying to look for a shot over there, or we're just trying to wait for the Yamato to make a push in. Yamatos don't really want to get too close to a Montana, though. Sure, he can lull pen the bow, but that's not necessarily what you'd consider a really good trade, because if he gets unlucky, he's gonna get wiped. But chances are our Henri ain't making it out of that. Our Zed's kind of stuck, so even though we're making a bit of points headway, we've only got the points to actually lose one ship. If we lose the Zed on top of that, well, we're buggered, and our Hindenburg and Yamato group ran away. And that's the thing, you don't run. Because, well, these guys have basically just fucked him and the Henri. So these guys are going to get pushed through, he's going to die, because his Hydra's probably better go down, because he was up earlier. So, he's screwed, this cap's lost, these guys ran, he's not actually, they're not pushing here, so he's not really in the game right now. So we kind of, there is definitely going to be a small chance for a comeback here, because if these guys, total away too much time, for example, we can still get back into this. And if this guy can, suppress, well, he's basically prevented Malibu from making a move in. But there you go, our Zed goes down as you'd expect. That was exactly what was going to happen, and looks like our Henri actually had a internet crash. The enemy Henri is almost certainly going to evade that salvo, so that's not going to do anything. It dodged as expected. He actually just stopped and dropped through it, which is kind of possible against a Montana, because the shells in this thing are so bloody slow. Looks like Sheep's coming through. Manamu's still being shot at from the back, so if they want to push mid, they're going to bleed health to our cruiser group in the back that, can potentially do something. But we kind of need to, do something about staying in a reasonable position. Not really sure what Yamato's trying to achieve at this point. I mean, he can't push in. He should just sit there and, back up as much as he can and try to deal damage to the guys crossing here. So at the moment, he actually has a reasonable crossfire. If these two cruisers in the back actually start dealing damage instead of trying to save their star, like the vast majority of cruiser players do the very moment the game begins, we probably would be in a slightly less worse situation as well. But there you go, enemy team has finally managed to capture the point. And now they'll all get spotting by the plane, because, maybe Yamato didn't have it on cooldown, or, didn't have it off cooldown or something. Good broadside against Malibu at this kind of a range. This could potentially do some citadels if the shells go over the island, and 28k, that's not a bad result. This ship's getting farmed royally, and our plane's up very soon, so if he does go invis, which he's not, rather unlikely to do so if he's on fire, because he's within the perma-spotting. Oh, never mind, he pressed D for stats and replaced the ship. But then again, if he's still in range of the three cruisers, they can still melt the ship down rather quickly. We need to get in there, and we need to make a mess out of Malibu, and also then their Henri. Launching our plane, it's probably going to get shot down soon enough, but it's going to give us one free shot against Malibu, and if you didn't realize this was coming in, this could potentially deal a lot of damage. And there it is, target, enemy battleship destroyed. Very useful salvo. We did get a potentially decent shot off in return, but it's actually only just 2 full pens, so that's actually a perfectly acceptable result. DM system's on fire, but we need to melt this Conqueror. I mean, it's unlikely the Conqueror is going to get a salvo against us, and in fact, it's just going to find himself going down rather soon, so we could maybe overpen him a little bit, but I would have shot the Hindenburg as well, I'll be completely honest, because we know the enemy Conqueror has used his heal. We get a pretty good damage salvo against the enemy's Hindenburg, and we know that Conqueror can't really shoot us, because the island's kind of stopping us. We can shoot his superstructure, because we're far enough from the island, but chances are, if he tries to shoot us, it's just going to derp everything into the said island itself. So, yeah, it works out. It works out alright. And he's continuing to reverse. He's still in an angle where we can citadel him. Well, actually, no, he's no longer citadelable, but we can still full pen him for quite a bit of damage. Looks like we're going to be spotted for a while, and the enemy Hindenburg probably had a plane up to continue shooting us. And there you go. Still a very good salvo. No citadels, though, but, it's to be expected at this kind of an angle. Trying to reverse ourselves, Des Moines uses radar, so, well, he knows we're here, but he's also not really that fast, and we can potentially derp a salvo over that. And I'm pretty sure our Zhao gets a really good salvo against him, which is incredibly useful, so he's being forced to move forward angle, which is very useful for us, because it puts him in a position where we can delete him. So we get the deletion on the Des Moines. We can continue trying to blink away at the enemy's Hindenburg group. Our Zhao is incredibly low HP. I'm pretty sure that the Moin made a mess out of him. Yo Yang actually gets himself... Okay, that's just a map rendering glitch, which is ultra annoying. But we're actually reasonably healthy, and ooh dear, the enemy Hindenburg is spotted broadside. Yes, the guy in chat says Montana full speed ahead. We do need to try to contest some kind of a capture point, because the points are starting to pick up, and, well, the enemy team's held A for a while, just like we held it in the beginning, so, well, we're gonna have to do something about the Charlie cap, and at this point, again, cruisers stuck inside of a cap are cruisers not doing anything. And for the moment, something actually was, well, kind of was able to, oh dear, we have a Henri in our face. So we're taking 2 torpedoes, which is a bit shitty, but this is his port side launch, so we need to get in there, and we're actually holding our ooh, we actually have Damacon upgrade. But, I think you screwed up, mate. Looks like the rear turret's on tracking. But we take the torpedoes, we survive, Damacon tanks it, and the Hindenburg knocks him out, so we're actually barely still in this. And hopefully the Hindenburg doesn't torp us down. And yeah, this throw. The enemy had won. Realistically, the enemy had this won. I'll be, you know, it is true. What we say here is true. So now it's just a question of trying to lock down the Charlie cap or locking down the Hindenburg. We actually still have a reasonable amount of health left on this Hindenburg. We're pretty much out of the game. The Zhao's still alive, Indy's still alive, so these guys, they did do a decent job of wanking in the back of the map, I suppose, but they could have been doing a lot better. That's for sure. And now we're spotted by the Yue Yang, so that's a pretty decent pretty decent thing for us. And looks like the ship's not necessarily too happy about the loss of the Des Moines, but still, who knows what the Des Moines was trying to do, really? That guy shouldn't have been in the mid. And okay, it's the guy in the back that says no hydros. That's not too big of a deal, because the guy in the front is the one likely to be getting torped at. And there we go, we actually spot the enemy Yue Yang. No clue why he would decide to magically open fire. I guess he's trying to save his star. Yeah, I mean, he knows his torpedoes have done nothing, so I suppose it's something, because at this point, as long as we don't lose a ship, well, the Yue Yang's not going to get the low torps on time again, and oh, ouch. Battleship AP is totally doubly out balanced. Thing is, though, at this point, let me just stop it here before he actually dies. Because we need 70 points, and the enemy needs, 220, because, we think for, 1 series, they think for 2, but we still have more, they have more than double the amount of points they need to catch up. 17 multiplied by 2 in this case is, a lot less than 220. So we're still going to win on points, and this guy's torps have failed, so, I mean, if we just advance in the opposite direction, as long as, let me see, can we actually see the health of the, oh, as long as this, actually, potentially they could have, if he could have killed him, and I doubt this guy recognized it on time, there is a small chance that they could, be able to do it, because this guy's going to lock down their cap. He's just going to, knowing the torpedoes are past, he's just going to park right inside of there and stop the points income there. So, I mean, I'm not asked enough to do the maths. So, but they could have potentially gone through it. But there you go. Yue Yang goes down to our radar station Hindenburg, apparently. I mean, it's just a bug. Not much you can do about it. But the enemy team pretty much threw that out of the window. Our Zhao, hopefully he'll get away, but I don't think so. He probably got caught too close, so he wouldn't have been able to reconceal himself, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, and let me just pause it again. The Tanichigo guy says can't retake 200 points, so actually he probably would have been able to reload torpedoes. In all honesty, he probably would have been able to reload them, actually, but you can see we're basically back to the old status quo here, because, you gain points and you lose points, but if the Yue Yang had not died, let's see, losing allied ships minus 60, so, and destroying enemy ships would be plus 40, so they would be on 850, and we would be on 890, which would mean that if this guy isn't able to lock down Charlie, I mean, he was heading straight for it, Even then, I think he would have made it on time. He might not have been able to cap it, but as long as he didn't die. But if he makes it, Young's getting another torpedo salvo off. So if he gets to wipe him or us, then they actually would have been able to win. So it was a bit of a throw on a lot of accounts on the enemy team. But yeah, now we just need to go cap. This guy's nowhere near. There's no ship here that would have had any plane that would have been able to stay alive for the 3 minutes expiration time. So he's healthy enough to actually be able to engage the enemy Hindenburg in a runaway engagement and win. But we just need to hide behind here and do a grand total of absolutely nothing, and this game is won. Because the enemy Hindenburg is, even if he was bowing here, he wouldn't be able to get over here and engage him before the cap is taken, most likely. So well, what an interesting game in the end. Now we're just launching our plane for the hell of it. No real loss in doing so, although I think it's a port takeoff. Yeah, it's a port side takeoff, so it's not going to do anything. It's never going to get around to the right side of the map. And, well, we're going to win. So, what went good, what went bad? Well, let's be completely honest. We said it ourselves in chat earlier. This is lost. It really was the enemy team throwing away ships. Malibu kind of got himself caught in an awkward position with Yamato and gets himself wiped. Didn't really either anticipate us being able to get shots over the island or kind of forgot about us. Either way, we did actually manage to get some really sneaky salvos in to pick him up, so that's incredibly useful for us. It's an enemy battleship out of the game reasonably early as well, although we did lose our Yamato for not really much gain either. Enemy Henri pushing into us. He could have traded us down. It didn't happen, so spot of luck on our side. He went with the torpedo rush. We actually had Damacon upgrade on the Montana, so Damacon lasted a bit longer. And it was actually his starboard launch that he launched at us. Henri having these good torpedo angles is actually kind of useful for this kind of stuff, but not really sure why you try to broadside. The best realistically possible outcome out of that would have really been an attempted ram. He got the torpedoes off already, so he probably just forgot to shift it. Well, he overshifted his rudder or something, but actually that's still way too much of an overshift. If he try to reshift back, he could have been able to stop our front turrets from effectively sitting down his belt and make the front turrets shoot the bow, but the rear turrets could potentially still have gone through his front magazine citadel, but that would require us to actually be able to stagger the turrets, and if we we would have to click 1, 2, 3, 4 times individually, or salvo fire, or hold mouse down to shoot 1, 2, and then re-aim number 3 and 4 and shoot those. So if he'd re-angled, he could potentially have gotten away with it, or either close past us, or probably for the better just rammed us and shot the Hindenburg. So that would have put us out of the game at that point. Maybe in that case, it will still be an equal trade, but equal trades in this kind of a situation do kind of favor the enemy, because Young could potentially lock down the Hindenburg, because the Hindenburg's shells are not good at dealing with any kind of destroyer, because they don't deal as much damage as you really want them to. So your dispersion is not going to mean you're going to hit super hard like a Zhao. If you shoot at a Zhao with a destroyer, expect to lose at least 5k in return. You shoot a Hindenburg with your destroyer, and the Hindenburg shoots back. You're not really going to lose much more than 2,500. It's just the way the numbers work. And if you broadside this out at 8 kilometers and you get caught by it, you expect to lose upwards of 10,000 health. That doesn't really happen with the Hindenburg. It's 4,000 or 5,000 per salvo until you angle again, and then the Hindenburg's just going to struggle with the German dispersion. Or struggle. You're just not going to get devastating hits anymore. So yeah, anyways, having a look at the post-battle result screen, 170,000 damage, a very good result there for ranked. It's not really often you get much more than 150,000 damage in my experience, but then again, I haven't tried playing a tier 10 battleships. I suppose if you're playing tier 10 battleships, 150 isn't really that bad overall. So yeah, Dreadnought, because we almost died and healed back. High caliber with this amount of damage, 7 citadels. The majority of them were against the enemy's Yamato, which, like I said, didn't really seem to be too aware of the fact that we were actually able to lob shells over the islands. 52 otherwise, hits otherwise with 24 secondaries. Not like that really matters. Henri's got too much armor for a secondaries to actually do anything useful. Having a look at the team scores, 2.3k base XP. The Hindenburg that survived is actually the one with a noticeably higher amount of score. Henri tried to rush us. If he'd rammed us, he still wouldn't have been able to make first place. If he'd been able to kill us and then kill the Hindenburg, he likely would have been the top. But then again, he likely would have won if he'd been able to pull that move off, because the flank would have been secure. Let's see. Young didn't actually seem to be able to achieve too much, and with how little he did, opening fire there really is just a big ass throw. Except, you know you're gonna lose your star. Conqueror probably just got screwed by dispersion. Our Yamato didn't really get too far. I mean, he did this. These guys here basically prevented the enemy battleships from and the Moy from rushing mid, but why would you rush mid when you don't actually have the complete control of the map? So that's a bit of an interesting move on their end. This guy says he crashed, so I can definitely see that being an issue because his position really wasn't good, and I don't think he was dealing damage in return because whatever got in there was still rather healthy. If he'd not crashed and not been moving when he crashed and was just perfectly parked on the island, well, this and this ran. They should never have run. They should have stayed on the western flank because it would have bled these guys on the Hindenburg group on the way in, and would have bled him on the way in as well. So that would have been a reasonable security for our Z-52, knowing he's got a cruiser inside, which has good torpedo angles and is fast with very, very high pen guns. And knowing that there's a crossfire with a Yamato and a Zhao that are basically in a position to stop these guys from wanting to get in through the cap. And I'm guessing that's what this group, the Des Moines and Conclol were trying to do. They're trying to get down mid to try to make sure that the crossfire is secured, but that's, of course, after these guys had abandoned it, which meant that, well, there was basically a back of A, middle of map, and a back, eastern side of the map crossfire against the group in mid. So no real clue what this guy attempted to achieve over there. But yeah, other than that, strategically, this map, in my experience, quickly becomes a clusterfuck over C. It's just kind of how it ends up. Well, it's A, isn't it? The western cap, I keep forgetting. And a quick look at the detail report screen. 71k off Malibu, 22k off the enemy Des Moines. That was the wipe. No dev strike though. Unfortunately, just a bit too short there. 36k off the Hindenburg over basically. Well, it's 3 salvos. One of them got a 2.7k double overpen, and a full wipe on almost full wipe, almost dev strike on the Henri, we just shot too late. And a BBAP is balanced against the enemy's Yueyang. Let's see, all of it done by AP because we didn't shoot skill. Secondary is at 2.3k, which is a bit of a surprise. I mean, it's actually no, that would be like 5. Depends on the saturation, but it's around 5 HE pens, I'd say, at that stage of the game against the Henri. Let's see, lost 44k to HE. It's actually quite a lot, but Hindenburg HE lol pens are 38, and I think even the Henri's, well, the 240, so yeah, they would go through the deck as well. Because, 40 mil. And yeah, AP 16k, not that many AP shells sent at us, and we actually lost a gun turret on AP, so that's interesting. 48k to torpedoes. It's kind of unfortunate we lost that much, but it's also really good that we survived that as well. 3k to flooding. We let it flood for a little bit before we thought, yeah, if he's got the other side launchable, then we better just Damacon now, and he's going to have to launch now, and it's going to get caught by our Damacon upgrade ship. 21k to fire, not that bad. We're very active on Damaconing the fires, so that's perfectly within controllable means there. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this replay cast. It's gonna be a bit on and off as I try to post the games as I get through them, really, and depending on my exam schedule, which is only gonna get worse. I doubt I'm gonna be able to do any more live streaming for the next foreseeable 3 weeks. After that, though, I definitely will be getting back into the game and being more active in content production. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. Take care, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.